speaker for this panel, I welcome Ms. Sahar Mansoor. Sahar is the founder and CEO of Bare Necessities, a zero-waste social enterprise. Circular economic nerd, a voracious learner, and a curious traveler. Sahar is co-author of Bare Necessities, How to Lead a Zero-Waste Life, published by Penguin Random House. We welcome you, and the floor is yours, Sahar.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone, and happy Saturday to you all. I'm going to share a little bit about my story, tell you about what got me started and why I'm building what I'm building. Feel free to, of course, pop all the questions in the chat, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. So hi, everyone, and welcome to my zero waste journey. This jar is primarily all of the waste that I've produced in the past 5 years. And I know that sounds really crazy, but I'm going to try and break it down over the next few minutes and tell you what got me started. So growing up, I spent lots of time in nature. I have 2 older sisters. My dad absolutely loved nature. And every weekend meant we were climbing trees, falling off of them, jumping into waterfalls, coffee picking, and more. So I think I've been an environmentalist since I was a little girl, but I only started actively calling myself an environmentalist when I went to college. So when I was in school, I was super dyslexic, and no one thought I would be an academic success by any stretch of definition of that word. I would finish reading the paragraph for like an essay or a comprehension exam, and I would just literally start attempting the first answer when the teacher would say like pencils down. So growing up, that was my academic journey, but was able to kind of work through that through a really supportive house environment, and graduated from the University of Cambridge on a full ride scholarship. So don't let anyone tell you that you can't do anything wherever you are in your journey of whatever environmental goals that you're looking to be part of. So this is a story of a woman who's really inspired me. Her name is Bia Johnson. She lives in California, and that jar that she's holding is essentially all of the waste that she has produced with her 2 kids and her husband in like 4 odd years. And I remember, going to school in California, and I watched this video of one of my courses, and I was completely mind blown. And I also thought I could probably never ever do that. Came up with a laundry list of excuses why I couldn't. Scholarships to maintain on campus. I have grades to keep up. I probably can't afford to shop where she shops. Just came up with a list of reasons why I couldn't do it. But I was super inspired by her story and by her journey. And I went to my dean's office, my principal or headmaster's office, and I said, you don't have the major I want. And he said, what do you mean? We have like 500 odd majors here. And I said, yeah, but I want to take environmental science in the science department, and I want to take environmental policy in the political science department. And I want to take the surfing science class in the environmental science department. So essentially, we sat down and highlighted every course that was offered in my university that had anything to do with the environment. And I was able to merge it all together to form an environmental interdisciplinary studies major. So that was kind of really, really instrumental in my thought process about everything that I'm trying to build as well. So fast forward a few years, I moved back home to Bangalore, where I'm from, very proud Bangalorean, and I worked at Selco Foundation. So I worked in mostly grassroots solar energy projects. Basically, imagine me, a bunch of kurtas in my backpack, and being transported to any gorgeous village across Karnataka primarily. So I helped on projects such as solarizing public health centers, agri-equipment for farmers, home lighting systems, and more. So these are just kind of some snippets of my pictures from fieldwork. But everyone in office knew that I was really obsessed about waste. So I got assigned this project to work with this community that is a migratory community that lives about 10 minutes away from the Bangalore International Airport, which is, of course, super smart city, super posh, all of that. And in a stark contrast to that fancy kind of smart city that we're building is this community of migratory waste pickers. And basically, I worked on this little project with them through my work at Selco, where we put solar panels on their tea stall. Every morning, they all come in to kind of have their morning chai, plug in their battery, go on for a day's work, come back and have a fully charged battery that they plug into their solar lantern. That's not, of course, the solution for energy access, but it is kind of one step in going up that energy access ladder. And through working with this community, I was able to kind of understand from a very kind of grassroots perspective what's going on. So I basically would follow them around on my cycle between 5 and 9 a.m. in the morning, shower and be at work. And of course, I noticed the conditions in which they were collecting all of our waste, right? Absolute bare naked hand, picking up sanitary napkins, broken glass bottles, and also just seeing a lot of my favorite brands, waste out there made me really just think about my lifestyle. And I thought back to that crazy video I watched when I was in college of Bia Johnson. And I thought to myself, I'm going to try that really crazy thing, that zero waste lifestyle. So that's how I got started. I started to make my own toothpaste. I would kind of ask my nani what she used to make and try some of those recipes. I started to shop in bulk. I started to carry my own reusables, even my own little snack bag with my own almonds and walnuts. Got myself a daily damkamba, started using a neem stick and a miswak stick and hated it because I really just missed the sensation of brushing my teeth. But made some terrible mistakes and experiments in my mom's kitchen. But that all kind of led me to my first few steps towards reducing my waste on a daily level. And while I was going on the zero waste journey, I realized that going zero waste is really just in our Indian DNA. We are the land of small business owners. We have bazaars at every corner. The Mumbai wala dabba wala example is literally the best example of what circular economy can look like, should look like, and about how amazing, healthy, home-cooked meals get delivered to about 2 lakh Mumbaikars, employing about 6,000 people, all without producing any waste in the first place. In my zero waste journey, my next kind of realization was that we live in a world with landfill-destined products, and we need a world with more zero waste or circular design products. And that's why Bare Necessities is born. We create solutions that are amazing, high quality, kick-ass products that are designed not to land up in our oceans and landfills. So we basically package everything in recyclable, reusable, or fully compostable packaging. And we source a lot of the raw materials actually from farmers I used to work with at my old job at Satco. So these are just a few photos. We also have a completely woman-run manufacturing team that I'm extremely proud about. Having been raised by a single mom, when I was 8 years old, I noticed that my mom started working full-time, went to graduate school and things like that. And I remember thinking that I only saw women in certain employment opportunities, and that was primarily cleaning houses. And I wanted to create an opportunity for women in a really amazing, fun work environment. So the women on our manufacturing team, learning English, learning computer skills, learning Tally, among several other skills. And of course, on your journey of trying to build a sustainable business, it's going to be really hard. They're going to have lots of bad days, but you're also going to have really fun and good days. For me, some of the hard days were really kind of tied towards raising capital, especially for a single 24-year-old female founder trying to raise capital in the circular economy business in 2015 was just kind of unheard of. And it was really hard, and I had lots of terrible days around that. But, I love this quote, and I want to end with this, because 20 years from now, you won't be disappointed by the things that you didn't do than the ones that you did. So throw off the bowline sails away from the safety of your harbor. Catch the trade winds in your sail to explore, to dream, and to discover.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sahar, for that presentation. And really love the fact that you are actually involving so many women as workers and manufacturers and so much more. And you're empowering them. And I, for one, am very, very pro towards that. So thank you so much for that. Sahar, I had a question for you. So as a woman climate champion, do you think the entrepreneurial space is gendered? If yes, then in what way?
That's a very multi-layered question and answer. I worked in the development space prior to this. It was definitely predominantly women who worked in this space, my co-workers, but also in the office. But on the field staff side, it was primarily men. So, we worked a lot on the ground level, and all of those offices were heavily staffed by men. In general, I do think that I do find more women in the sustainability career arena than men, but I think that gap is also kind of closing, and I think that's really encouraging, because we all have different skill sets that we bring to the table, and it would only mean that we're creating cleaner, greener, more just solutions for a holistic world if we have both perspectives in. So I'm happy to see that gap kind of reducing.
Thank you, Sahar. We have Abhinav who asks, how did you come up with the name of your company, Bare Necessities?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, me and my sisters really love Jungle Book. So growing up, we would actually get into our swimwear and run around the house every time we watched Jungle Book, and the Hindi version on Doordarshan, which is like Jungle Pen Ki Phool Khila Hai, Chadi Pen Ke Phir. So we would literally run across the house. So when I was telling my sisters I'm trying to run a business and I'm trying to create a sustainable business that really focuses on what we need, and hopefully in this era of consumption focuses more on experiences rather than stuff and accumulating things, with the words Bare Necessities just came to mind.
Amazing, very, very interesting, Sahar. So I would like to ask you, so how have you pivoted from the adverse effects of the coronavirus pandemic on your enterprise?
Yeah, sure. We honestly have a lot of talks and workshops that we do to basically help spread awareness around sustainability in India and beyond, right? And at first, that was kind of a marketing leverage, but it also soon became a revenue mechanism where people would want us to come and run these amazing, very interactive DIY workshops and things like that. And in the pandemic, a lot of corporates were looking to engage their employees. So we actually did online Zoom kind of employee engagement workshops around sustainability for a lot of corporates. And we converted our content on workshops into basically an online course. So we actually have 2 online courses. One is zero waste and one is sustainability and the building blocks of sustainability. And this has been like a really great way to keep us going when logistics were massively hit, when we couldn't come into work, and we were really just uncertain about our future, but we still had revenue coming in by virtue of the completely self-paced online courses, which was really, really amazing. So that was a small pivot during COVID, and I think I'm so proud we did that, and happy we survived. We were able to pay everyone full salaries, apart from like maybe 2 months in this year, and raises even, increase everyone's healthcare access during this really uncertain time. So I'm really glad we make that decision to slightly pivot.
Right, sir. Thank you so much. And one last question: who is your role model, if you have one?
Oh my gosh, so many, but I would have to say my mom, just for her strength in raising 3 young girls all by herself, and yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.